I think that this live stream is working well, so give me a thumbs up if you're here so that I know that you can hear me. And today I'm super excited to talk to you guys about a culture of mediocrity within sort of the education system in our society and what that specifically means for millennials and Gen Zers. So we're going to talk about that today, and I'm super pumped. So let's go ahead and get started. And again, give me a big thumbs up or a heart to let me know if you're here. And I think you're going to find this information really, really great. So here we go. Let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so this talk is called A Culture of Mediocrity. And so for me, when I think about being a millennial, specifically, born in 1987, so right in the middle of it, one of the most frustrating influences for me that I had personally growing up, and I think that probably resonates with a lot of millennials to some extent, were two constant messages. And the first message was, you got to be like everybody else. Standardization, SOLs were coming up, right? And so everybody's just pushed along in this herd of mediocrity. And then the second message, and this is the one that I'm specifically going to talk about today, is that there's only one path to success. Just one. You graduate, you go to college, you get a job, right? And so I'm sure that that resonates with millennials because that was what we heard all the time, okay? Or at least for some of us. And so today what I'm going to talk about is the path to success comment. The mediocrity piece we can discuss during a different time, during a live stream, but I specifically want to go into the path of success. So this is what they teach you when you're in school, and they still continue to do this. You graduate, you go to college, you get a job. It's the exact same message pretty much all day, okay? And this is, to me, it's a little crazy because despite all the facts that show that college graduates, especially millennials like myself, despite all the facts that show that we're in so much student loan debt, and the fact that our lives have been put on hold, so to speak, right? Most of us, can't start families because of all this debt, or at least we're putting it off to later in the future. A lot of us are struggling to buy a home, especially if we're single, right? Because we don't have the income to do that. And don't take this as me whining. I'm most definitely not whining. I just want to talk these things out, right? And, people are also, advocating for college all the time, despite knowing that so many degrees are completely worthless, right? They're just, a lot of them are nothing more than toilet paper, to be honest with you. And so, and the thing is that we know how fast the world is changing. Why is that important? Well, new information is constantly being discovered and processed, right? So if you ask yourself, is my degree from 15 years ago still valid, right? Well, not really. Right? There might be some of it, some of it might still be relevant, I guess you could say. But when you realize that according to the new information theory, just do a quick Google search on that. If you look at the new information theory, new information is processed and disseminated to the masses approximately every 18 months. Every 18 months. That's ridiculously fast. So if you think about your degree from however long ago, for a lot of us, it might be completely obsolete and irrelevant, especially when you look at it from today's constantly evolving world and new information. Yeah, but still, all these things, the same message is what we continue to teach our kids, right? And that's a little scary. So I remember a friend of mine, we were just talking. We're both millennials. He's a couple years younger than I am. But we were just chatting about the education system and college and all that and how it all works and everything. And I remember telling him that in school, I believed with every bit of my whole heart and soul that the pathway to success was to have a high GPA, graduate from college, and a job. Once I graduated from college, a job would just appear like magic. It would just be had, right? That's what I believed because that's what I was taught, right? But what happened was very different. So I go to college, I got into massive debt, and I eventually had to get another degree because my bachelor's degree wasn't sufficient. And then I had to get another degree because for me, I wasn't allowed to teach dual enrollment classes without this other degree. So I've got three degrees. And by anyone's standards, that's, great. It's considered highly educated, right? But, if you just look at myself, for example, I'm not going to try to broad stroke all millennials here, but what do I have to show for it? Not a lot, pretty much nothing, right? So let's just look at it from a financial perspective for a second. Let's say that the average income for a millennial is like $40,000, okay, and that's before taxes. Well, for me, I've been a teacher for 7 years. So if you take $40,000 over 7 years, that equates to, I think, about $280,000 made. It sounds like a lot of money, $280,000, wow, right? But when you consider that it's over 7 years of life and all the work and everything, it's not that much. And then you take taxes out of it, and that takes about $92,000 away from your income. So you're left with about $180,000 over 7 years of life. And that's just income tax, right? Not the other taxes that we have to pay, right? And so for millennials, that's very frustrating. And it's extremely frustrating for millennials because we've done all the supposed right things, you know? And I think that this resonates with a lot of us. So, you know, again, during this conversation with my friend, he told me that he personally was never really that good at school and just wasn't the academic type, right? Didn't study for tests and all that. And so he just never saw the benefit of it. And so after he graduated school, he started studying the stock market, and he didn't go to college, by the way, and he started his own business, and now he owns a couple of different businesses, and he's doing great. Didn't go to college, right? And I'm not saying people shouldn't go to college, but what I'm saying is that people should consider that there is an alternative path, right? And so he's thriving for all intensive purposes with no debt, with zero debt. So during this conversation, I also remember telling him, or actually him telling me rather, that when in the past he's had conversations with kids who are in college right now. And if you ask them, he told me, he goes, if you ask them why they chose to go to college, they look at you like, they're looking at you like all side-eyed. Right? And they're confused. Like, why would you even ask such a thing? Like, what do you mean, why did I choose to go to college? This is just what you do, right? That's the look on their face. They're saying that essentially. And so what you can tell is that they have been completely sold that if you want success in life, this is what you do, right? For them, it's completely out of the realm of possibility that there could be another path, one in which you as the individual call the shots and not some institution or individual. Right? And so I know for me that if somebody had asked me that question at that age, I know that I would have done the exact same thing. I would have had the exact same expression on my face if somebody had asked me, why am I going to college? And in fact, I probably did do that. I just didn't realize it at the time. Right? And so let me just first say that this is a multidimensional issue. Okay, it's not just about the economy or one person or one isolated issue. It's multidimensional, right? And so let's ask ourselves, what do we know? Well, what do we know about the different generations? What we do know about different generations is that baby boomers and Generation Xers, they didn't experience what millennials are experiencing. So for them to say to millennials, hey, you graduate, you go to college, you get a good job, for them, that was sort of the path to success. And they continue that cycle with the millennials, right? But it didn't work, okay? And for baby boomers and Xers, the return on their investment for college was, they got it fast, right? It was high because for baby boomers, college tuition was about $1,000 a year, approximately, for public school. And for Xers, the average cost of a public university in the year 1988, anyway, I had to look this up, in the year 1988, the tuition for a public school was about $3,190 per year. So college was a pretty solid investment, especially since you consider that not everybody in the world did this, right? Not everybody went to college like they do now. So once you graduated, you could get a good job and get a good return on your investment within a couple of years, if not sooner. Millennials, not so much. We know that the cost of college has completely ballooned to a point where it's out of control, right? And so I'll just give you another statistic. 40% of millennial workers, ages 25 to 29, and I'm 32, had a bachelor's degree in the year 2016. That's a lot, right? And if you look at Xers and baby boomers, it's far less, okay? And it says 32% of Generation Xers in the year 2000 and 26% of baby boomers in the year 1985. So by far, the majority of people did not graduate and go to college for Xers and baby boomers, okay? So really what we have to do, and I'm kind of winding down now, is what we really have to do is we have to ask ourselves, how is this going to impact Generation Z? Who's raising them? Who are their parents? Okay, and why is it so important to understand who and what the influencers are for each person and for each generation as a whole. Why is that so important, right? So if you think about Gen X and what they value in life, that might give you a clue. And that's for sure going to influence the current kids in the school system, right? And the ones coming up, well, we don't know yet because they're not there yet, but it's most definitely going to influence them. And what we teach them in terms of our value? What is that going to cost Generation Zers in the future? And what does that have to do with anything related with mediocrity? What does it have to do with that, right? Well, I'm going to talk about that in another video. But my team and I are going to do a training on this soon. We're just working out some details on the date at this point, and I'll let you know. But it's going to be awesome. So let me know if you're interested, because it's absolutely going to be sick. And I hope that you guys have a wonderful day. So I will see you next time. Bye.